Hi everyone, and welcome to the first weekly code club of the HMLE Complete Machine Learning Externship. My name is Mohamed Zeliat Orazi, and I'm a junior data scientist at HMLE Labs. So I want to quickly appreciate Ruchi. She's the first person to join the call. Thank you, Ruchi, for taking time to join us today. And I'm joining in from Kano in Nigeria. So I know you guys have been wondering what the whole weekly code club is about. So the weekly code club is basically an onboarding session where our interns come and ask questions about the course and also the project. So all questions will be answered by the HMLE Labs team, of course. So the plan is we give our interns a project to work on for a week, and then we gather here like we are now to help you unblock any blocker you had during the course of the project execution and completion. And also, the project is going to be added to the cumulative score at the end of the course. So please take it seriously. And today we'll be having a walkthrough of the project, the data wrangling project, by one of our team members. So before we start, I would like to mention a few housekeeping. So the program is going to last for an hour, and as you have noticed, you all have been muted. So if you have any questions, please use the event code #99932 on slido.com, and it will be attended to. And you can also use the chat boxes on YouTube and on Zoom, and your questions will be picked up from there. So without wasting time, I'd like to hand over the control to Basil, who is also a junior data scientist at HMLE Labs. So while we wait for Basil, if you have, please can you share your feedback on the course? You can use the chat box on Zoom and on you can use the chat box on Zoom and on YouTube. So Basil, yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Zaliat. Thank you, everyone. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I was having some network issues there. Welcome everyone to this live session. Before I start the code live session and review, I would like to hear from two people. I would like to get a feedback from you all to know how the program has been going, how the challenges you faced so far, and apparently tell us how the project was and how the program has been so far for you. So I'll be just raise your hand if you want to talk, or Gaurav will allow you to speak. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Abdullahi. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Go ahead, I can hear you.
Yeah. My name is SULAIMON ABDULLAH. Since the program has started, I've not been able to pick very well. Let me be straightforward. I'm not be able to pick very well due to the GitHub, I did not understand deeply how to deal with most of the code on machine learning. Normally, I have idea on coding before. Based on I learned from Pluralsight and from Mandela before joining the program. But I want to know how to use the Amoye lab very well so that I can meet up with most of the coding section. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yes, I need more idea about how to deal with the lab. So this is all.
So apparently, so everything was the courses, the version control system, courses, and every other thing was well sessioned in such a way that a new person, even if you're just starting new or you're very new to everything, I think you should be able to follow through and be able to understand everything. So as regards the lab, what exactly is the challenge you're having as regards the lab?
The challenge I'm having about the lab is I was unable to pick most of the code. You know, the code is based on machine learning.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Now I have idea on some Python, I have idea on Python and JavaScript, but that machine learning, I did not understand it very well.
Okay, so that's exactly what the program is for. Is to expose you to you might know Python, but then you wouldn't really actually know how to use Python for machine learning. So that's what the program is for, to expose you to how to use Python for machine learning and data science. So I feel you should just follow the program as well as the premium courses. I think all this will expose you to better understand how to use Python for machine learning. So Gaurav, we'll take the next person so that we can go straight to the code review.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. So if there is no other person, let's just go straight up to the code review. Then if you have any question, please drop it on the live on the comment section. If you're live on YouTube, please drop your question on the live comment section. After the code review, we'll then go through the questions and answer your questions. Thank you. So I'm sharing my screen now. Can you all see my screen?
It's visible.
Oh, fine. So so we'll be going through the solutions to the weekly ML code, basically for the data wrangling. So we were given 3 data sets to work with. The sales phone data sets, the population data sets, as well as the geo country data sets. So the very first thing here to do, given in any data science or machine learning problem, once you have your data sets ready, the very first thing to do is to import the necessary libraries that would help you to carry out the functionalities and every other work you need to do. So the very first Python library we're importing here is is NumPy, which stands for numerical Python. So NumPy contains a multi-dimensional array and matrix for data, matrix data structures. So it is basically used for mathematical operations. So how do you import? You import NumPy as NP. So the next library we're working with is the Pandas library, which is another library for data manipulation and analysis. So having imported these libraries, the very first thing to do is to load your data set. So we are given 3 CSV data files: the cell phone, the population, and your country. So how do we import the CSV file? You read the CSV file by calling the pandas.read_CSV. Then you have to pass in the link to your data, or probably maybe the name of your of your data if it's in your directory. So we declare the variable cell underscore phones, the cell phone CSV files, and then pandas as well can read other files such as the Excel file and HTML files, and you can use the read underscore Excel and read underscore HTML to read all these data sets. Then the next thing is to probably take a look at what your data frame looks like. And then the head function, .head function, is used to get the first n rows of your data frame. So it's basically used to quickly test if your object or your data set has the right data type in it. So we use the .head Python function to take a look at what the phones data sets look like. So from here, you can see the country column, you can see the year column, and you can see the phone data column. And again, you still have the .tel function, which you can use to view the last few n rows of your data frame as well. You can as well take a look at the shape of your data. You use the .shape attribute for NumPy arrays, which returns the dimension of your data set. So the phones has a total of 11640 rows and 3 columns. And then, so the next thing is to read the population data. See the same way is a CSV file, pd.read_CSV. So you read, here is what it looks like. And then the last data set is the show country code. So basically what I did here is to pass it as a part. So this is the part, so read_CSV part. Either ways, you put in the the link here, or you pass it here and pass the path here and read. Either ways, it still runs. Okay, so the next thing there is to join the data. I discovered that most of you had issues with these parts joining the data. I'll explain it very well so that you will learn how to merge two data frames together. So the instruction is to join the CES phones and the population data frame using an inner join on the country and year. So at the end, the resulting data frame should be in the shape of 11,640 rows by 4 columns. So merging data frame has some kind of there's a kind of tricky way of doing this. If you're joining columns on columns, the data frame indices will probably be ignored. Then otherwise, if you're joining indices on indices, or the indices on the column or columns, the index will be passed on. So when performing a cross merge, no column specification to merge on allowed. So I declared a new variable here, merge_df. Then the population does merge. You're merging the cells underscore phones on population. So how do you do this? How? The inner. You're asked to do an inner join on country and year. So the country and year must be, these two columns must be in the two data frames you're joining together. So it just picks the likely attributes or likely values in each of these columns. Yeah. So this is the outputs of our merge by merging the population and sales phone. So this is what the output looks like. Then here, just take a look at the unique values of the country column. So use the unique function to get the unique values from the column. So the next thing is in the show country codes, you were asked to rename the columns, the country to the show and the name to country. So when you're renaming any column on the data frame, you use the rename method of pandas to perform this function. The data frame to change, when you're doing this, you're changing the column or index name individually. You specify the original name and probably the new name in a dictionary-like form, where you pass in the original name and the new name to the column or index argument of rename. So in this case, the geocountry data frame pass to the geocountry code dot rename. Use the dot rename method to do this. You pass in the columns you want to rename. So in this case, you're renaming the country to show and the name to country. So we just do this and then check take a look at what your data frame looks like. You can see here we've done this, and yeah, the country here has renamed. So the next thing there is select the geo and country columns from the geo country data frame. So from the new data frame now, where we do the renaming, what we're interested in is in the geo and the country columns. So how do we go about this? So we have a new variable here where we have to pick the show and country columns. This is just what we're interested in. So you use the double brackets here when you take off the double bracket, it will output a pandas data frame. But then if you use a single bracket, this will output a pandas series. So when you're doing this, we want to get back a data frame, we use a double column to do this. Yeah, as you can see, we have the geo and the country columns. So the next instruction is to join with your merge population and sales phones data. So we already have the merge population and sales phone data. So the instruction is you should join this very data frame to the previous merge population and sales phone data. So I think this will be quite straightforward. So declare a new variable data set equals to merge the previous merge data dot merge on show country new data frame. How we do that with the inner merge, and then on country. So we have a new data frame here. Yeah. So we have the country, the year, population, sales phone, and the show. So the shape of the merge data set now is 11,640 rows and 5 columns. So the next thing is to calculate number of cell phones per person and add this column onto your data frame. So we use a lambda function here and the apply function as well. I'll explain it in a bit. And so we have here the data sets, and we're naming a new column that's cell phones per person. And how do you go about this? So we have data set of apply. Use the apply function along an axis of a data frame. So objects pass to the function a kind of series object whose index is either the data frames index or data frames column. And then we use the lambda function, lambda data set. So the lambda function is sort of a small anonymous function which you probably use to carry out which can take kind of a number of arguments. So it can be used to return a function object as well, and it is actually restricted to only a single expression. So to get the number of cell phones per person, you divide the cell phones by the population as is equals to 1 across the columns. So with this, we have, yeah, so this is the output. This here is where I try to explain what a lambda function does and everything. I don't think it's part of this session. So we have a new data set here. So this is the new column, the sales phones per person, which was derived by dividing the number of sales phones by the population of each country. So we'll take a look at the unique countries from our new data frame. So to know if what you did was quite correct. So if you've calculated correctly, you will get 1.263 sales phones per person in the United States in the year 2017. So how do you go about this? We have to check for the year 2017 and then check for the country, United States, to know the number of sales phones per person. We will use the log, dataset.log, and this means dataset.locate. So the log, it accesses a group of rows and columns by labels. So it's primarily used for the label base. So what exactly are we doing here? We are looking for the data set, like the column, the year column of the data set that's equals to 2017 and the country that is United States. So we want to know what the assessment per person in United States in the year 2017 is. So this gave us, this was correct, 1.230769. So there is still another function that can use to for index location.ilog. Maybe you can try that out. So the next thing is to you're asked to modify the show country to make the show code uppercase instead of lowercase. The function you can use to get this done is the string.upper. So we're applying this to the show column of the data set. So by calling the string.upper, you're able to convert everything in the show column to uppercase. So there are other couple of functions you can try out, the dot lower, the upper, the title, and everything you can just play around with. So the last part here is to process the data, and we're asked to use the describe method to generate descriptive statistics and describe your data frames, numeric columns, and then is non-numeric columns. So to achieve this, use the describe function, which is used to generate descriptive statistics, both for your numerical columns as well as your non-numeric columns. So the pandas describe method is used for this this basic operation, which helps you to get details of each of your columns. You get to know the percentile, the mean, and standard deviation, and yeah. By calling this, you're able to see the descriptive statistics for all your numerical columns. So they say you will see the time year period ranges from 1960 to 2017. So ranges minimum 1960 maximum, sorry, 2019, not 2016. That's 2019. So I think this is fine. And then to get for the non-numeric columns, use data set or describe exclude number, or you can use data set to describe include object. I think this will give you for the non-numeric columns to see like probably the descriptive statistics of this, and you know you're right if you get 194 unique countries, if there are 194 unique countries represented. So yeah, from here unique countries 194, so this is right. So the last part is in the year 2017, what were the top 5 countries with the most cell phones total? I think I made this very clear by giving you like some like the sales phones, like the results you likely get, or the results you get when you do this right. So the countries underscore 2017. So the very first thing, or the very way I approach this, is to first select the data frame for year 2017. So basically declare a new variable, data set or locate data set in the year 2017. You just print out like the columns and rows that are in the year 2017. And then the next thing is to select the columns we are only interested in, which is the country and sales fund. So you do this by just like normal indexing to get the columns. And then there are ways you can get um, um, the five countries with the highest number of cell phones. So in this case, use the n largest function, which you have to pass. You said you need five, past five, and then indicate the column you want this to come out as. So the n largest function returns the first n rows with the largest values in the columns actually in descending order. So this is right. And then so try your hands on the group by function. You can also use the group by function to get this group by, you're grouping by country, and then the sales phones or some after some minutes sort underscore values. You sort the values ascending, you declare it to false. So yeah, so this will just display or give you an output of what this looks like. So so this is it for the project that was given to you all. I don't have time again. I would have loved to walk through other um, optional codes that are included here on how to work with categorical and numerical data. So this is it, and we actually went through your codes and we reviewed your codes. Some of you did quite well. I was really impressed with your work, and we know that some people are just starting in this very field. So I encourage you to keep doing what is right. Keep coding. Keep going through the lesson sessions. This is just like this is just like a small session of what is to come in this program. I'm sure when you subscribe to the premium premium option, you'll be able to get more out of the program. So yeah, that is it for now. I'll be handing over to Zaliat to take over the question and answer session. Thank you.
Zaliat, I think you are on mute, please.
Zaliat, you're mute.
So thank you for that. And thank you very much, Basil, for that wonderful session. I know we all have learned so much from this session, and probably all the questions that we have has been answered through this session. So the first question we have is from Slido, and it's from Anonymous, and the person is asking, how is concatenation different from merging? So I'll direct this question to Basil. So Basil, please, can you answer this question? How is concatenation different from merging?
So I would say they apparently do the same thing. So they apparently do the same thing actually. I don't really see much difference between concatenation and merging. Yeah, they're apparently the same thing, but I think there's probably a slight difference between the concatenation and merging, which I cannot really say, but I think they apparently do the same thing. Yep.
Okay, to add on to Basil's point, I would like to say concatenation, you actually join two things, one after the other. It's like I have a piece and I just join another piece to it. But in merging, we have various techniques like inner join, outer join, left join. We can just match the keys and then join two tables. We can have overlapping. We can just take the inclusive thing, exclusive thing. So merging is about that, and concatenation is just joining. So that's a brief overview difference, you can say.
Wow, thank you so much, Gaurav and Basil. So the next question is from YouTube, and it's from Anonymous too. The question is, what is negative index in Python? So I'll direct this question to Gaurav. So go ahead, please.
Yeah. So about negative index. So negative index is like when we want to take the elements of a list or the array from backside of the array. So when you take the positive index, let's say list of 0, so you take the first element from beginning. But if I want to take the first element from the end, then I'll take the list of -1. So that negative index means how many steps backwards you are going from the end. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, I hope that answered the question. Oh, and to add to it, so if you want to take the first if you want to take the first item of a list, you use 0. So if you want to get the last one, you use -1. So I hope that answered your question, Anonymous. And we have another question from Zoom, and it's from Oluwadusin. I hope I pronounced it correctly. The question is it going to be possible to get this correction? Okay, so Oluwadusin will not be sharing this notebook because we have a policy that says we can't share solutions because of privacy and all. But if you are a premium intern, that's the people that paid for the premium course, you can have a one-on-one session with any of the Harmonia Labs team while working on the project, and we'll provide links, we'll provide resources to help you with the project. But we are sorry we can't give you this notebook. Thank you. So, okay, we have another question from Zoom. And the person is asking why we had to use pandas. So I'll direct this question to Basil, please.
So, like I said earlier, pandas helps you, or pandas is the only Python library that can be used for data manipulation and working with structured data or data frames in for machine learning. So NumPy is there as well. NumPy is actually for numerical Python, for numerical computations. For pandas, you just have to use it. Is one of the basic and one of the most used libraries in machine learning. No matter how you go about it, you have to come across it. It's mandatory that you have to use pandas for your data manipulation, your data wrangling, as well as working with structured data. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Basil. And I hope that answered your question, Ololuwa, sorry. So we have another question from Zoom, and the person is asking that, could you explain the inner function in joining? So Basil, please, can you help us answer the question? Could you re-explain the inner function in joining? Yeah, that's the question.
Okay, so the inner function in joining, like I said earlier, there are other methods to do joining. We have the inner join, you have the outer join, left and right join, and so many of them. So the inner join actually picks is a kind of intersection. Whatever that is here and that is here, I need it. So we have data frame A, have data frame B. So the inner join, we are joining from the code section. We are joining from on the country and the year. So you're explicitly taking what is in this country, what is in this data frame, that is as well in the other data frame. That's what the inner join does. So you're explicitly taking what's in the country of data frame A from the country of data frame B, and what's in the year of data frame A from what's the data frame B to join together. Yeah, that's what inner join does.
Thank you so much, Basil. So we have another question from Slido, and the person is saying that I think it would be nice to be able to redo our quizzes. So like we have this policy that we can't allow you to take a quiz again because there might be there's a chance, because we have a leaderboard. So at the end of this premium course, there's going to be a leaderboard for each course. So we're going to have the best, we are going to have like outstanding male, outstanding female, most collaborative male. So we have that award. So it won't be nice if somebody can, like, we take the quiz multiple times. The person might actually have 100, while another person that took the course once, we get 50, and it won't be nice to have that kind of situation. So that's why you only take your quiz one time, but you have time to actually go through everything to make sure the answers are correct. So I hope that answered your question. So another person is asking from Zoom that is there a stage to get awards for higher score, or we'll have to wait for the premium? Okay, like I said, there's an award at the end of the premium course. There'll be an award for each course. So you just have to wait, because I think we're finishing the premium soon, and we'll be starting the premium. So there will be an award. Okay, I think that's all the questions we have from YouTube. And okay, so there's another question, sorry, before, I think that's the last question we'll be taking. That will there be certificates after the end of the program? So I'll allow Gaurav to answer that.
Yeah, after the course you have completed, if you get a score more than 60%, then you will be having your certificate, which can be downloaded from the HMLE platform itself. And if you are a premium member, then I'm happy to announce that you will also get a certificate for the externship as well. So all the best.
Okay, there's another question from Zoom. Okay, so the person is asking that, can we access the video after the class so we can revise? So Gaurav, please, can you help us answer that?
Yeah, so the whole lecture is available on YouTube as well. It is being live streamed and the recording will be available there. So if you feel you want to revisit the whole lecture, it's available there.
Okay, so we'll give room for more questions. You can use the chat box on Zoom and YouTube, and you can also send your question in on slido.com using the event code #99932. Okay, so we have another question here that says the courses are not beginner friendly. The question is from YouTube by Anonymous, that the courses are not beginner friendly. So Precious, please, can you help us answer?
Yeah, so before Precious gets to answer that, I would say I don't know, but we try to make everything such that as a beginner you'll be able to pick up. And as a beginner, you need to be very curious about this, and we are there to help you out. Apparently, some beginners, I was impressed with their the project they submitted. Like they did quite well, though some couldn't get some things right. But there is always a starting point to anything great. So we try as much as possible to make everything beginner friendly. I'll show you that. And you just have to if you have questions, don't forget to ask any of us. If you anything you're confused about, there is Google there to help you out as well. So we tried as much as possible to make it beginner friendly, and we'll as well keep trying our best to make it beginner friendly. Thank you. Precious, over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Like what Basi said, the courses were programmed in such a way to help students that have no clue of Python to machine learning. And from the reviews I did for some beginners, it was actually very straightforward. Like Oda, Raphael, and some others who gave their remarks, it was actually friendly. I think one thing that will help is we should try as much to follow the links and the notes shared, because if you do so much by going around to Google and YouTube and trying to get too many knowledge, it would make you confused. I think it's already straightforward and programmed. So just follow it up. And if you have questions, you can ask any of us. So it will be very, very helpful.
Okay, thank you, Precious and Basil. So we have one more question from Melissa on Zoom. And the question is, can we go through the ending part of the lecture that Basil said he would have loved to complete if there was time? So Basil, question
Yeah.
is for you.
Okay. We can do that in. I can just run through that in probably 5 minutes or thereabouts. I'll share my screen now.
Okay, so before that, I have a few announcements. So for the freemium, there's going to be a leadership board that's going to be published for each course. So, and we also have award for stage 1. We have award for most outstanding intern, most outstanding intern female, most collaborative intern, and face of ML Weekly Code Club. And again, the project for this week will be sent out tomorrow, and it will be on the course version control with Kit. So you can continue, Basil.
Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this very optional code that I added here is on how to work with categorical and numerical data. So in machine learning, in data science, most times the data sets you're given, some will be in categorical form and some will as well. And as we know it, data to for you to do your modeling, you need to find a way to encode your categorical data into numerical form. So I think that's exactly what I did here. So, and to do this, you apparently use the label encoding and the one hot encoding for categorical data. And yeah, have to import like the normal library you have to work with pandas and numpy, and then the math library for mathematical operations. So the data sets just have to load. I loaded the data set from my Google Drive. Yeah, fine. So have to import the data sets like the normal way you import your data, read underscore CSV file. So looking at this data frame, you see we have here the gender, male, female, male, female. Then the ethnicity here group, like different ethnicity group, and then the parental level this is in categorical form, and everything here, just the math score, the reading score, and the writing score that are in numerical form. So the very first thing is to check out the average. Probably you just want to know the distribution of the numerical data. So I have to check out the mean of each of the numerical data. That's the math score, the reading score, as well as the writing score. Sorry, I think this is wrong. The writing score. Yeah. So yeah, this gives us the average, the math average, reading average, and the writing average. If you see very well, they are not probably in the same scale, and we want to do sort of a standardization to standardize the data, and what this basically does is to make your data to be normally distributed. So when you apply this standardization, you're trying to get a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. So this is done by subtracting the mean and dividing by the standard deviation. So scikit-learn is one of the libraries you'll get to encounter in data science and machine learning, which you use most often. And then scikit-learn has a library called pre-processing. and then you can use this to for your data preprocessing. You can use it to scale your data, and you can use it to perform some other awesome operations on your data sets. So what did we do here? We have to scale our data sets. So you don't have to start doing your min-max scaling, like start doing the mathematical operation yourself. So this does the work for us just by calling this library preprocessing.scale on the math, the reading, and writing score columns. So from here, I think if you can see my screen, the data frame has changed here. The math score has changed, the reading score has changed, and the writing score has changed. So I think this didn't change, like it still retains, will I say, the quality of the column or the data frame. Scaling the data doesn't change much, or it doesn't change anything about like for the columns. So it's basically to bring it on the same scale, the range of 0 to yeah, to bring on the same scale where you have a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. So the next thing is to work with the categorical data, where you all have the male, female, and all this. So like I said, what you can use to the library you can use to go about this is the label encoder. I think the one hot encoder as well works very well for this. So you just from the preprocessing, you call the preprocessing or label encoder, and you fit. After fitting, then you transform on the gender. So the label encoder, I think, is basically used for the label we are trying to work on or to predict, which is the gender. I think with all this, we are trying to identify the gender, if I'm right, convert test values to numbers. So we're trying to change the gender to probably 1 for male and 0 for female. Yeah, so with this now, you get the classes. It still retains the female and male. So 1 is male and 0 is female. So and then you can use the one hot encoding. Now we're trying to change the ethnicity. We have different ethnicity group. So we are changing at each time in this scale, at this index or this row, we only have one ethnicity shows kind of, let's say, positive or is present. So what one hot encoding does, it creates a new column for each unique value for the specified feature in the data set. So for this specified feature in this data set, at each time, the group B was present at this very row or at this very index, which takes the value 1, and every other thing remains 0. So that's the way one hot encoding works. So when you run this, yeah, it's outputs. Now we have the output, and then we can as well apply one hot encoding for other remaining non-numerical features. All you have to do is just call pd dots pandas.get underscore dummies. Then you pass the data frame, and then the columns you want to perform this operation on. So the data, after applying all this, the data is now ready to be used to train our model. Yeah, so here we go. Yeah, so we've find a way to carry out this operation of one hot encoding, standardization, and as well as the label encoder. So I think what next you need to do is probably delete this column, because we've already done we applied the one hot encoding on the ethnicity group. Yeah, so that's basically it. I think with this you'll be able to pass your data to your model, the machine learning algorithm you want to use, and you should be able to make better prediction. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Basil, for the wonderful session. And I hope all our questions have been answered and all the blockers have been resolved. Okay, so I'll be handing over to Gurav, who is also a junior data scientist at HMLE AI Labs. He'll be giving us some tips on how to be a better programmer. So I'll hand over to you now.
Thank you, Zaria. Thank you, Basil. Hello, everyone. So about programming. See, we are all here doing learning, machine learning, data science, artificial intelligence, and we all can understand that whole IT industry in all, it's very dynamic. Everything changes each night. So what exactly we need to do? We need to learn how actually programming works rather than rot learning some particular functions or that. If we are able to gather the knowledge of how the things are working in computer, then we can become a better programmer. So let's say what happens with me is like whenever I think of a problem, I instantly try to formulate it and how we can instruct the computer, or we can say like how we can program it in computer. So let's take an example. We all got this data set of mobile numbers and the whole country data set. So we gave you some questions to do. It's very good to do all those questions, but we are not limited to those questions. Just see the data set and ask more questions from them, like which country has the least number of mobile phones. Try to code it. Anytime you think a question, just try to code it. And whenever you are stuck, just don't worry about anything and directly engage with the community, engage and search it on Google. See, learning is not limited to a particular desktop. Actually, as internet, we have the internet is so vast, so we can use that facility. We can have, like, we have also given you a platform of HMLE Slack, so you can just interact with us or other interns and take their perspective. So like, if we want to categorize it, then we can see, like, firstly, the ability or the curiosity to do questions, to do things, to formulate the things for computer is the first thing to become a better programmer. And secondly, after getting that curiosity, actually doing it. So what happens is, like, many times we make plans in our mind and we never execute it. So after planning, execution is also very important. And don't stop till execution, try to grow it. So if we don't grow on a particular thing, then it's not beneficial. So I would say plan, execute, and grow. These are the three steps. If you follow these, and I think you will become a better programmer. I see, like, many people say that I'm already doing that thing, this thing. I'm engaged in school studies. I'm doing a job, and I cannot do programming. These are not ways to do the things. Take it as an opportunity. You have the work to do. You can do this thing. You have to take out time. See, it's all about interest. If I have interest in one thing, then I can do. Like, when I was a member of data science internship last year, so I was also, like, doing my college, as well as I was having, like, my whole societies thing, clubs I was very part of. Still, I was doing the data science internship, and many of us were them, and we all conquered that. So that was our curiosity to do that. And then when we got projects, we got things to we interacted with the community. We in the internship, I, like, made many new friends who gave me new knowledge every day. So whenever I wake up in the morning, I just take an aim that I have to at least learn one new thing in this day so that I can grow. So all these three steps I reiterate: plan, execute, and grow. So if you follow these religiously, then I think you will become a better programmer. So these were the words, these were my observation from past 2 years of machine learning I have and in this IT industry. I hope these will help you. And yeah, just all the best, I would say. Yeah. Thanks.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, Graf, for that wonderful advice and word of wisdom that you just shared with us. So we've come to the end of today's weekly code club. We'll be having more. We'll do this till the end of the externship. So I will urge you guys to pay for the course so that you can move to the next stage of the program. So I'll hand over back to Guraf to give us the closing remark.
Yeah, so today was very wonderful session. We all interacted with each other, and I hope to take this interaction further. To you can just collaborate with us on Slack, as well as we have the coming weekly code clubs also. So by tomorrow you will be getting your next project. I wish you all the best. Do the projects, keep grinding, I would say. So thank you for coming to this weekly code club. I thank all the Hemoid faculty. I thank all the beloved interns to come to this session. Thank you very much. Happy computing to all.